Welcome to Moss Marketing Mondays, a.k.a. the M3 Podcast. Brought to you by Moss Marketing Group, bringing you everything marketing every Monday. Stay tuned for marketing tips and tricks you can use today. The M3 Podcast, marketing knowledge to help you succeed. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the M3 Podcast. This week here, we got pretty much professional podcasters at this point. We got the CP crew back. We got Corey. We got Ryan. We got new guest Houston on. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for letting us be here.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation again.
Ryan wanted to come on here just to tell everyone who got the biggest fish in Alaska. That's what we were discussing when we started.
Yeah, but he forgot to tell you the first day he didn't catch anything. So
anything that measured up, yeah. But it was 100. There was 4 of us in each group.
Yeah,
two groups, and it was $100 a day that you had to put in this pot. Biggest fish caught goes to the winner, and him and Travis.
I had to go to council.
Yeah, because it was technically his pole that caught the fish, but Travis reeled it in.
Yeah, so
You didn't reel it in?
Well, I mean, because our captain of the boat said, "Hey, come over here for a second." So I was doing that, bobbing. Then, as soon as I leave, pole gets snagged. Travis reels it in. So I had to get litigation. We got lawyers involved.
Yeah.
So nobody got paid that day. So we go out to the ocean, Seaward.
Yeah, at Seaward.
We went out to the ocean the next day just before we start fishing. It's an hour and a half, 2 hour boat ride out. And we're like 40 to 50 miles offshore. And I go, okay, here's my $100 bill. I laid it on the cooler that's in the back of the boat. I said, somebody's taking that $100 before anybody puts a line in the water because I'm superstitious about this. And I've got to catch, some fish. So somebody's taking this. I looked at Corey and he's like, I don't know who won. I'm like, Travis, get back here. Who had the biggest fish? I don't care. Here's 100. I'm giving it to somebody. Corey's like, just give it to Travis. So I gave it to Travis and look what happened. Caught the biggest fish.
And I lost 100. Then I lost 100 the following day.
Got the 100. I got the 300 the following day too. Actually, I was the one that caught fish the last day.
Well, that's a win.
Yeah.
So
For who?
it doesn't sound like you. It definitely doesn't sound like you. I'd say Ryan catching the big fish won.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool experience.
Yeah,
Very
Alaska, beautiful, beautiful state.
Yeah, thank you guys for the invite when we started.
Yep.
But
I'll invite you next time.
all right,
We can do a podcast up there.
Oh, I'm 100%. I'm counting on it.
Okay.
Via a boat. We haven't podcasted on a boat yet.
You do not want to do it in the North Pacific Ocean. I can tell you that.
That's true. It's pretty rough.
I've went deep sea fishing one time and I wasn't a huge fan.
Really?
I was fine when I could see the shoreline, but after that, it went downhill.
Did you take Dramamine?
No.
Yeah, it could be why.
Yeah.
We did catch a huge mahi though, so that was cool.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. Was you drinking the night before?
Oh, yeah.
That could be another reason.
I was in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Truth comes out now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, the whole equation didn't quite make sense.
Yep.
But, all right. Houston, what is your job title?
Catch all.
Catch all.
Yeah. No, project manager and estimator for CP Excavating.
How long you been with CP?
5 years, over 5 years now.
Dang, you put up with these two for 5 years?
Put up with Corey for 5. I'm going on 3 with Ryan.
Oh.
So
Yeah, we're just over 3 together, yeah.
I think we made him smarter.
He's doing much better since I've been on board.
That makes sense.
much as it pains to admit.
So when you got onto CP, what did that look like? How'd you acquire a position at CP?
Probably because of the fire department. So Corey and I are on the Cameron Fire Department together, and we had been for probably 2 years at that point, going on 2. He knew I wasn't a complete idiot, and my background in mechanical engineering, I think
You see how he followed that up with?
Yeah.
I like that. I was right behind that.
He knew we went into a couple burning houses together. He knew he could trust me, and he knew I wasn't, completely dumb. So he took a risk, and here we are 5 years later, and grown a lot and done a lot of things.
Very cool. I thought in the video he said he worked at CP because it was close to his house.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah.
That was exactly.
He can't lie. He really needs to tell the story about like what he was going to do, but he, decided not to, and how he stayed and all that.
He actually come to me for a job.
I did. I forgot about that.
And Houston, I never clicked with him at the first because he has such a dry sense of humor. And especially since he's an engineer. Me and engineers just don't get along very well. So, no, we wasn't at a point where we were really wanting to hire anybody. I mean, there's just still a couple of us. And he did. He come to us for a position and just as upfront with him. And so I don't think I need you right now. I was still doing all that estimating by myself. And 6 months later, after we were enrolled in Fire 1, Fire 2, got a full-time offer from St. Joe Fire. I'm like, maybe I need to hire Houston. And as he said, we've been into a couple buildings together, and I could trust him. And then I started to understand his humor, and really he's intelligent, more so than probably all of us here at the table. But
it's a lie.
Logically, he's dumb, but he's very intelligent.
He meant common sense.
But
the stuff that we see.
Yeah. So I offered him a job, and he's just like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like, no, I'm being serious. And so he thought on it a couple of days and ended up accepting my offer. And yeah, it's been a good 5 years.
It has been. We've done a lot. I think the story I always tell everybody is when I started, it was him and I, his mother-in-law, and I think we had 6 guys in the field, and that was it. And we've come a long, long way since that day, even in a short and somehow long 5 years.
Yeah.
How much easier was it with like 6 people and his mother-in-law?
I don't know if it was easier. It was in a lot of aspects, but there was a lot of aspects that were hard. One of the things I always talk about with him is when we had 6 guys, and this was one thing I think we both had to come to terms with, is when it was 6 guys, he could go out and make up for 3 or 4 guys easy out in the field, catch up a job site that was behind. He could do a lot.
Did you pay him to say that on here?
No.
That was nice.
Yeah, I did. 200, but he don't know what's coming. He don't know what's coming at the end of this.
I'm just hearing the
Now, he can't say anything bad now.
But he could affect a lot of change on those job sites, right? Now, where we are, he can still do a lot, but again, like we were talking, when you got 5, 6 job sites all going at once, plus the mining, plus everything going on, there's been a big change in those 5 years. And again, we brought this guy on, and he's even affected it more, I think. So
he's a good guy. I don't care what anybody says. He's a good guy.
He had to pay him $500 to say that.
You don't think Corey could drive like 5 rock trucks by himself?
in his head.
Yeah, in my head. I will be able to in another 5 years. We're going to be autonomous.
That's true.
We're not getting on that subject tonight.
Okay.
No.
Ryan looks very intrigued to be on that subject.
Yeah.
We didn't even know what we're going to talk about. And look at that. We were like
shut down.
5-10 minutes and we know what Ryan's hot button is.
Not talking about autonomy. Okay.
What is your viewpoint on that?
We're not talking about it.
No, he's over there. He's already red in the face, ready to go with it.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't see it happening. There's too many variables. We talked about it last time a little bit, and there's just too many variables. In my opinion.
Do you think there is
It's just how long have they been working on trucks, on over-the-road trucks? How long have they been trying to get them autonomous? Seriously, 6-7 years now? 8, maybe 10?
Been longer than that.
But
what do you think about the people that are like running it from like a control center?
I still don't like that. There's just not enough.
I mean, their intelligence is like Houston.
You're going to have to elaborate.
Yeah, please elaborate. Can he not drive anything?
No.
No.
rude. How many speeding tickets do you guys have? That's what I thought.
We were talking about operating.
Hey, engineer over here.
I know.
In more ways than
That's why he
one.
said that.
I drive the fire trucks. He gets in the fire trucks with me. He must trust me a little bit.
Houston probably stays a lot cleaner at CP than most guys.
Yeah.
He does, but
calluses
he will
on these
get
hands?
dirty. He will get dirty. I will give him that.
Yeah.
But no, the autonomous thing, I just think there's too many variables. I
'Cause
really do.
I was thinking one of these days when I can run a skid loader from like one of my bedrooms, I come home at night just
Yeah.
You're gonna be hired. You'll be one of the first ones we hire.
First person you hire, do that. Give me a call. I'll do that.
It's
every
recorded.
time. Yeah.
It's recorded. So
Yeah, but it's gonna be like where Call of Duty is not gonna pay you much. They're like, what do you do? I
can
run a
see
skid
it,
loader at night in one of my bedrooms.
Yeah. He'll have two screens going and you'll hear, dude. All right. Another 15-minute break. Come on, bro.
Sounds like Ryan's been hanging out with Dre.
You got to cut that one.
Oh, shoot. So have you always done the same thing for CP?
For the most part, the majority, I'd say 80, 85%. The rest of the 10 to 15 to 20, depending on the day, is just helping him out with whatever we need. And I used to do permits for all our oversized loads. Thank God somebody else took that over. I type up his emails sometimes, as he said in the past, but
yeah,
wherever I'm needed.
Said they come across a little nicer if they come from Houston.
100%. Because if I had to type an email, it's typically beep, 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 beep. Hey, Houston, this is what I'm trying to say. Can you type that for me? I got you, boss. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very good at that.
You send a lot of emails, Ryan?
Only when I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, but only when I have to. I'm linked in on all of them, copied in on all of them, and if I need to say something, I say something. Just depends on what it is. But Houston, he helps the backside of every single project that nobody ever sees, like daily things that nobody ever sees or hears him talking about, because he'll be communicating with people that are not in the field. He does some. You do some, quite a bit. But it's normally on engineering stuff like, okay, we ran into an issue, it's brought to my attention. Then I go into Houston like, hey, how do we fix this? What can we do? What do we need to talk to the GC about? How to fix this? Then he's doing the backdoor work, that nobody ever sees. So don't really get the credit for, because it's always the people that are, putting the stone on the front of the building, doing the work type stuff that are getting acknowledgement for the work. But he really does a lot for the company that nobody ever acknowledges or sees.
Somebody had to send in the submittal to find out which rock was going on the front of the building. It's the bane of my existence.
Yeah, seriously.
So what would you say the most difficult part of your job and what you do day to day is?
Money. It's always money. Root of all evil, right? No,
that's a better answer than I expected.
Yeah, the industry, even in a short 5 years, sound like I'm a veteran. Even in the short 5 years that I've seen, the margins are getting smaller. Everything's getting more expensive. Fuel's up right now. Our pipe prices on a lot of things have probably tripled in 3 years, if not more in some respects. But we have owners and developers who are trying to save every nickel and dime they can. And somehow we as the subcontractors, and I think there's a lot out there that feel the same way, are the ones that get hit with it. The GCs aren't taking it. They're passing it on. Then we have our suppliers who they're not taking it. They're passing it back to us. And it's somehow that we're in this valley. So we've cut all of our margins. Our time frames are ridiculously short. And no matter what happens, like trying to explain weather days to a general contractor that says, hey, we can't move dirt when it rains, it's like trying to get water from a rock. It's crazy. So
it's a good analogy.
It is.
It's
that's why he's an engineer.
Yeah. That was a expensive degree to say that I can be one.
I have an expensive degree too. I pay about $141 a month, and I don't use it at all. And one of these days, I'm going to take it off the wall once it's paid off. I just leave it there because I pay for it. After it's paid off, it's coming down. I don't really care where it goes.
Well, that's kind of with Houston. I mean, he's actually his background's mechanical engineering. He had no idea about civil.
None.
Yeah,
we made fun of civil guys at college.
So I have a degree in geology, minor in physics, and then I was going to go for petroleum engineering.
And
you're telling me not to be engineering, and this guy over here.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, I wouldn't have either. That's impressive.
So it was something I enjoyed, and part of the reason I got into the geology side, I was like, how do I go make money at this? And just a normal geology degree isn't that glorious. And I was like, I started looking into petroleum engineering side. You get on the oil side, and then it's like you need the physics background, which I always did really well at math. And So then after that side, I was like, okay, I can get through 4 years of this with degree in geology, minor in physics, and I can go on for 2 years in Oklahoma for my petroleum engineer degree. But my whole family was here, so I didn't really want to leave. And I really want to go work, make money, start a life.
Those petroleum engineers make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I remember that from starting out in college, trying to figure it out. They always talk petroleum engineering, top of the market. Median income, 160 grand, something like that. Yeah. Those guys make money.
I thought about it once.
I look to you. I know that.
Corey's doing a lot better than all the petroleum engineers out there. He goes, one of these days you guys can put all your money together and you can buy one of these rock trucks. Shoot. So with margins getting lower or getting smaller as you progress, how do you guys handle that on your side? Because I know it's like happening across markets everywhere. There's like certain industries that people are deeming the same service or same product, and they don't think price is supposed to fluctuate when every single thing that funnels into that market is fluctuated in price over the last 3 years. And it's like, it's not like you can just demand whatever you want when everyone else is at this price tag. So how are you guys navigating that water, like moving forward, just to make sure it's not a day where it comes, it's like, hey, we've been sucked dry and there's no money to be made anymore.
We get more efficient at what we're doing with what we have.
Production.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's simply production. You have to be efficient and, I mean, no mistakes. And you have to push. I feel like we're pushed harder. It kind of goes with what Houston was, elaborating, or I'm elaborating what Houston was saying. And, with the efficiency, it's all about production at the end of the day. If you're cutting money, I mean, equipment's higher.
Labor's higher.
Materials are higher. So if you want to try to maintain a margin that our industry needs, it's about production. Now, granted, today's equipment, I mean, you guys have seen it. You see, the type of equipment we're running, but you also understand the price tag on it. To offset everything, you just have to be productive. That's the only way that you can make it work.
And I think also, I was out at one of your guys' sites filming, and when I got there, Ryan shows up and he tells me he has to recalibrate all this stuff because Corey hit it with the mower. And
you really threw me under the bus?
I did tell him.
So he's sitting there and goes, yeah, it's going to take me all day to recalibrate this. I go, did like knock it over? And he's like telling me about these posts they're up and how it like goes to the system that's in the dozer that shows the grade. And I was like, realistically, he goes, it's off like, was it 2 millimeters or something?
It was 200s.
Or 200ths of a millimeter.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there.
Of an inch. 200ths of an inch.
200ths of an inch. He's telling me like.
A tenth, to be technical.
Whatever. It's off by not a whole lot.
200ths of a tenth.
Yeah.
That's correct.
You think if you hit it with a mower, it's going to be like something that's way off, but it's like barely off. And so Ryan's telling me about it. I'm like, realistically, what would that affect if you didn't fix it and you didn't recalibrate everything? And he's like going over everything. He's like, on something this size, he's like, you're probably going to have $30,000 of rock to cover up that little difference. And I was like, how many guys out there are in some big company that just take a shortcut that they're like, well, I don't want to recalibrate this thing all day. And then a company spends $30,000 extra on rock.
I've heard bad rumors about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yes.
And it's crazy to like think about things that you're like, I'm going to be out here all day working on this. And most people think excavating, dirt work, things like that, they're thinking guys out in loaders, trucks, stuff, just running and gunning all day. You were out on a laptop all day at the back of a truck with some high-tech looking stuff. And he was like trying to explain it to me. I'm like, just so you know, I'm not the tech one in the company. Like, this shit's over my head. But it's little like things like that of just being efficient in what you're doing that make such a huge difference in the long run.
Yeah, that's a dollar saving tool right there. Yeah. It really is.
And I guarantee that wasn't a cheap setup to start with.
No. I was pretty pissed when I hit it. I threw all my beer cans out and I fit the whiskey and started.
Yeah, he called me and told me that he bumped the pole I said, bumped it. He's like, well, it don't look like it's moved that much. I got out and I kind of tamped around it. And I'm like,
Hey, if it was only 200, it's off.
You didn't hit that hard.
Well, let's just say I'm pretty good at putting it back.
That looks just about right.
I did recalibrate, by the way.
Yeah, I know you did.
Just because it was off just a little bit. I'm like, you know what? I've got time here. It took me like 2.5, 3 hours, but to gather the information and whatnot to start with. Then I was talking to the guys that do our CAD files and stuff like that. I was just communicating with them like, hey, seriously, what's your opinion? And Zach, he just straight up, he's like, I'm telling you, you need to recalibrate. I'm like, okay, that's all I need. I just needed you to, I'm good with it. Whatever I need to do, we would probably be fine, but we better just recalibrate.
So on that, like, what would you say one of the most like technology driven items right now in excavating is over the last like few years?
Probably on the excavators for laying pipe in the last few years.
I mean, just GPS in general.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like probably the most gone after item in GPS would be installing GPS on an excavator. And what it'll do, you can set it up just like you do with the dozer. You can set your elevation in there so you don't overcut. And you're doing that with a Traco. No offense, but we could literally put anybody in it and they would dig. You could set it and explain to them how to set it, their cut, and they would dig down, and the excavator will not dig. If you set it to this elevation, it won't go past it.
Dre could operate it.
What?
Yeah.
Do you know Dre crashed a lot of shit growing
I'm
up?
just telling you, he could
I
operate.
really feel like we almost need to bring him on as a guest. One of these, we could have a full podcast on things Dre's crashed.
That is true.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
So you will not operate for us, Dre.
What's funny about the GPS is like 3-4 years ago, we were down in southern part of Kansas City. We were making what basically amounted to a big rectangle building. It was only like 50, 60,000 square feet. It wasn't very big at all.
I mean, most people probably listen. That's pretty big fucking building.
Well, be in the industry.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a small one.
Yeah.
But it's just a flat pad. It's one elevation over the whole thing. And we had a PM, and I'll never forget it. I was still pretty young in the company at the time.
Because I forgot this story he's telling. I have no idea what he's talking about.
You're going to know it as soon as I say it. We had a PM that came back, and he was worried. I mean, worried that we didn't have GPS on that job. It was Arco. It was down at Brookside.
Oh, yeah, that job.
Yeah. And, again, any old dozer hand, any operator, they should be able to do that off of some stakes, right? Off hubs.
That's the way it always was.
That's how the industry operated for years. But this guy was so worried because he didn't see those little globes out there on that dozer. And we eventually, I think, got it down there. I mean, we planned on it the whole time, but we didn't need it at that moment. But man, you'd have thought world was ending because the GPS was not on that job site.
That is true. I do remember that.
It's pretty crazy watching like set that all up each morning. Like, because I showed up, everyone was like pulling in, and they start setting up. I'm like, what are these little dome things that they're putting on here?
Mm-hmm.
Then Ryan showed up and explained it all to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every one of our job sites has it on it. We do little stuff here and there, not very much without it, but 99.8 is all GPS. That's probably one of my favorite things to mess with. And I don't know, it's something that I strive to get good at. I mean, I can walk somebody through it over the phone and how to set it all up and whatnot. And that was a goal of mine to be able to do. It's hard to do, to remember 17 buttons to hit, and this will get you to that spot, but over and over repetitiveness.
But I think that helps at scale because, once again, you talk about efficiency. You put a guy out there that in the future, somebody bumps a stake or something like that, you have to fix it. And you can sit there and call a guy, or they're in a dozer and something's messed up. You can call and walk them through how to fix it. They're not all sitting there dead in the water until, we're waiting for Ryan to get here. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how many pieces of equipment you have running at each site at any given point in time, but it's like when I've been out at multiple sites, it's like they're all running off of that guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It seems like he's like kind of the one that's people are pulling up. They're like, yeah, you need to be doing this, 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 and this. And it's like, it seems like a pretty smooth operation that all of a sudden you take that guy and then it's like, And I may totally be wrong.
No, you're pretty spot on for the most part.
But now he can call you and you can have that done quick when you have, I don't know what we were talking. You said 7. Houston said 12.
12 open, 5 active. There you go.
Yeah. Something like that.
See, the worst.
He's like, yeah, I got it all down here. Well, you guys both look straight at him like.
Well, because I'm thinking like, I don't have guys at 12 job sites, but 7, yeah.
The worst thing, though, with the GPS, I think you're going to find is, and maybe I'm wrong, these guys will tell me, obviously, they usually do if I'm wrong, is there's a lot of experience that's getting ready to leave this industry, and there are a lot of guys that if you take that GPS away, they're done. They're lost.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's true statement.
That's going to be a big thing over the next 10 to 15 years, I think.
Not necessarily all of our guys, but there are a handful of them that solely ran off of GPS and not grade stakes like it was before.
So do you think that with that being so, I'm going to say, I don't know if similar across the space or it became so just popular everywhere, do you think that's going to be something that does hinder the space? Do you think that is something that hinders pay? Like,
well, here's the thing. We've created a society that's dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So in your space, our space, when just beings talk about our space, you do have the older generation. Some of them actually refuse to even operate GPS because they never could control the piece of equipment they were in. So we have those guys leaving, but with the GPS, once you got them familiar to it, they really started becoming acclimated to where they enjoyed operating GPS. But if the system goes down, those guys could simply just keep moving forward. So into what Houston's saying, the downfall of that is because the younger generations, they just become so dependent on being able to push buttons, let go of everything, and that track machine or the track hoe, whatever you're in, it's autonomous. So it'll just do its thing. Well, then, if there is a glitch in the system, well, just go over there and read that grade stake. It says you still got to cut a 2 foot. I don't know how to read that grade stake. Okay, that's a bigger problem. So now, because they become dependent on technology, they're not educating themselves to be able to move forward or continue to move forward. That's a huge problem. When we were introduced to our industry, that's GPS was just really starting to creep into our market.
So does it have glitches? Does it have problems? Or is it
100%?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Like,
it's not bulletproof.
Yeah. And how often is that a problem?
Weekly.
It just depends different. When you have the amount of sites that we have going, you're usually going to typically run into something.
So even when you run into it weekly, can they make that call to you? And that be handled pretty quickly?
Typically, yes. But the main issue I think is double checking a control. What they have to double check is make sure the elevation's consistent from day to day. Because, he bumped one base pole, but he knew he bumped it. It's ours, right? So you're gonna try to fix it because it's ours. But you don't know if another sub or contractor or somebody bumps your pole. And that's what everything is depending on that we do is off of that base pole, off of its elevation, and then northern and eastings with control points around the whole site. So if that base pole gets bumped by another sub, and then say the dozer hand gets there and he's setting his stuff up in the morning, he goes out and he starts cutting subgrade because he was doing that the day before. If he didn't check his grade, recheck it, then it could have been off by 2 or 3 tenths, and there goes all your profit. Whatever you're doing, if you're putting down rock, there goes a lot of profit. That don't happen that often, something like that. But I'd say a lot of the problem that we have would be bases not finding themselves on jobs. That's number one issue that I see that I deal with.
Number one issue is numbers and operators.
Oh, punching in their cuts. Yeah. Which that's so simple though.
It still manages to be a problem.
To actually setting your grade, it's extremely important. Everything we work from top down. You're going if you got an 8-inch cut down to subgrade and you're putting in 4 inches of rock, 4 inches concrete, you have to set that dozer to cut down to the subgrade. So you're just putting it in a negative 83. So 67. So when you put that in there, that's an 8-inch cut. Huh?
I said,
Now we
see,
got
it is
We
difficult.
got the engineer involved.
See, I think I'm gonna be ready to go by the end of this. I think.
But what I'm saying is
jumping
you
in
have to-
tomorrow.
Don't give away all of our
Yeah, but
information.
that's you double check that. Just like that, I knew it in my head. I said 83. I was going 8/10, or 8 inches. I'm going 67.67 below top. So you have to do that. Well, double check it. They make tape measures, that you literally just pull it out, double check. Okay, yeah. But those little short numbers, you just kind of remember them. But even though, just like he caught me, I said 83, which is 10 inches. But I was like 67, sorry, because I'm not used to running that system. I mean, I am now, but I wasn't before. So you have to train your brain to work off of those numbers. But even still, I pull out a tape just to double check myself, because basically 1,000 ton of rock, even if you get it at $25 a ton, how much money is that? $25,000.
Yeah.
1,000 ton of
Good
rock.
at math.
I was just confused at everything.
But I'm just meaning like that's
at
how
first I
critical-
started thinking square footage, and I'm like, what are you trying to figure? I'm figuring square footage.
I confused you real quick. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to, but that's how critical it is. Just 1,000 ton of rock could cost you 25,000, just like that. And that, so that pad that you were at, and I'm not going to say where it's at, but that pad there, let's just say that we didn't recalibrate that site and everything was off. You could easily lose 30 grand. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Just in a matter of 4 short hours of work.
Well, and the other problem, excuse me, the other problem we have is even independent of us when it comes to the GPS. All our GPS is read off of whatever the engineer draws up. And there's been a big change even in the last few years that we go to contract with plans that aren't done. We have one that we went to contract at 90% last year. We start bidding and start contract talks sometimes at 75% plans. So you have these engineers and architects that are drawing up all these changes. And every time they change this, not the whole plan set, but specifically for the grading where the GPS comes in at, they change it. And it's not cheap for us to get this stuff set up. And even though they made a little minor tweak here or there, we have no control off of it. And then we have to go back and tell them, well, sorry, that's another $5,000 to get the thing even started. And it just snowballs from there. But really, and we can't control that at all. But then we still have to explain to them why it's costing them more money. But that's the biggest thing I see with the GPS.
All in all, I don't think there's that many downfalls at all to it. The biggest deal is, I will agree with you. Having said that, as an operator, the main deal is making sure they're putting in their right cut.
Yeah.
That's definitely the most critical.
Which even like any technology nowadays, there's still user error to technology.
100%.
And that's where I'm not even going to say with like AI stuff right now. Like there's people that are trying to use ChatGPT that can't get shit out of it because they don't even know how to they don't know how to the input side of it.
What is that?
Yeah, I have no idea either.
It's AI that like does like writing and things like that.
Who's AI?
Is that Al?
Al.
Okay, that's AL.
It's Allen Iverson. He's
It's
coming
like,
back.
hi.
So, you just lost me.
No, so it's like when you look at
We talking square footage again?
so when you get into those things, it's like there's still user input. And like even being in the car business, there's systems that are put in place for dealers to run on. But you could have one sales guy that's great at putting in his information all the time and runs it the way it's supposed to be ran. And the next guy that just absolutely sucks at it. And the system's pretty much worthless when it's not operated correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the one thing that I think just a lot of things in our world today, that if you have a guy that's graded his inputs, what he's supposed to be putting into GPS all the time, running it the way it's supposed to be done, checking what's supposed to be checked, I'm assuming it's probably a pretty smooth system.
It is.
It really is. And that's why we're the only ones, him and I are out of all the whole company, are the only ones that will calibrate and deal with the hands-on when it comes to GPS. Because if there is a mistake come to calibration, it's on him and I.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with multiple numbers at one time, one decimal being positioned wrong, or even if it's off a thousandths, can take this whole job site and it can change it 3-4 foot vertically. It typically won't allow us to even bring in the GPS coordinates if you have a mistake like that, but that's just the importance of it. And people don't understand that and what it takes to understand. I mean, engineers do, civil engineers, civil engineers understand
Mechanical.
So there is some challenges to it, but that is why we're the only ones that mess with it.
Civil builds targets, mechanical blows them up. That was always the joke in college.
So, Houston, what would you say your craziest story since being at CP is?
This is going to be interesting.
This would be.
That's a good
single one?
Good. Yeah, there's got to be one single
I don't know.
The
about
single
crazy.
most
interesting story.
I've got too many to pick from, but I do remember the first time I realized that I was probably in the wrong business. It was a Wednesday night, and I know it was a Wednesday night.
He showed up
we
at
had
work.
Training.
Everyone was in like diesel trucks. And he's like, "Damn, they don't like my Prius here."
It was.
He would drive a Prius.
Yeah. It was a training night, and it was Wednesday because him and I had training. It's like 6:30. It's almost time for training. It's already dark. We're doing a full road reconstruction, East Prospect, over in the town that we're from. It was the city electrical guys came in and decided that they were going to set a utility pole. Didn't call any markings, didn't do nothing. Drilled straight through a sewer. Just dead center on this sewer, right? Nobody knew about it till the next day, till that night. So we get called because we get blamed because it's our job site. I'm in a ditch down in this little sewer. Okay. He goes,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
He goes, I'm gonna go to training. I'll see you later. So I've got my hand.
You got it
up
covered?
A 4-inch sewer line, trying to get this thing unclogged and fix it. It was me and Scott, and I hear water start to come down that pipe, and I was like, "What's about to happen?" It was the washing machine. I've never been so happy for washing machine. It actually smelled good. But we got the sewer fixed.
Was this like right next to a house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were doing a full road reconstruction for like 4 blocks in Cameron. And that one was done. But
So who drove through it?
The city electrical crews. They took an auger and just went boop right through the
Were
middle.
they still there?
No.
They left.
This
They
happened
said,
hours later.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
That was the most interesting story?
That's not the most interesting. There's plenty of interesting ones. The one where
Well, that
we
was
tried
the question
to,
he asked. I mean, that was pretty boring.
that one was
No, he got dirty, so I know why he
Yeah,
did
it
it.
was
He
interesting.
was getting dirty.
I remember this.
Yeah,
Yeah, shitting
that-
his mouth.
I
I
mean,
got a cut on my hand. I had a cut
I
on
guess
my
that's
hand.
why it was interesting.
Yeah.
I had my hand in
No, I
shit, and
get
Corey
that.
went
No.
to training.
I think the most, and it's gonna be again another boring story. But the most interesting one for me is the first bid I ever did with him was like $97,000. It was nothing.
He won it.
No, when I was going to hit send on that email to send it to the GC that we were bidding through, I don't want to know what my pulse rate was. I mean, it was through the roof. This is more money than I've ever seen. I didn't know what was happening.
Well, we didn't have the money yet, so
That's true.
It was just numbers on paper.
I sent out a $2.3 million bid today. Didn't even give a second thought.
I know. So I was getting ready to chime in.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when we talk about these new jobs and whatnot. He says, yeah, I don't think we're going to get it. I'm like, what did you do for 40 hours this week?
I got paid.
You're supposed to try to win these. He's like, yeah, but we ain't going to win it. I'm like,
Yeah.
why not? Because I covered everything. I'm like, fuck. So his deal is when he feels nervous, he's missed something. He feels good about the bid. Like, we're going to win the job, but he's missed something. When you win a job, it's how big do you miss?
Mm-hmm.
That's how tight the margins are. So you're going to miss something if you win the job. What did you miss? Did you miss by 10 grand or did you miss by 80 grand? So
Or in his
the
case,
one-
a couple hundred.
Hell, I had an old boy one time told me in a pre-bid or an actual public bid opening, he was talking with the guy leading the bid, and he goes, "I'm hoping I just missed enough." And that's how we operate. It's terrifying. I hate it.
I'm trying to remember the last one that we went into.
Now Corey's
Which
sitting
one
over
was
there
that?
running numbers. He's like, "How big did he miss?"
Yeah.
Which one
Right.
was it? You were super nervous. You called me and was like, I'm nervous. Oh, yeah, I know which
It was
one it
the
was.
sewer
I'm not
one.
going to say where it was
Yeah.
at.
Down southeast.
Down
Yeah.
south.
Yeah.
We won it.
He was scared. He was he was as red as my shirt.
I rewrote the bid 5 minutes before the bid opening. It was all on a piece of paper, and I printed 3 extra copies to take with me just in case. And I was in the truck sweating, writing this down.
But why is because he calls me and he's like, "What's your gut?" I said, "Knock 200,000 off of it," just like that. He goes, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "I don't know." Are you sure?
Are you sure? He's like, I don't know. I don't think I can pay enough for this.
He goes, "Is that what you really want me to do?" I said, "Just do it." Click. So we won the job.
Corey, are you there? Corey?
Yeah. We won the job by what?
Like $300.
$300?
No, like $300,000. Yeah.
$300.
I think we were at 4 and 4.3.
Good thing we knocked off $200K.
I've not had that one yet. I'm waiting for the when I win by $300. That'll be a good day. But
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
it's
That's really what it was.
yeah. If it's the one that he's
I
talking
wrote
about,
that
which
one
I think
off
so.
because
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I wrote that one off because
We could have had an extra 200 G's sitting around.
we've done that a few times.
could have went to Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have been there the whole
I would have
time.
invited you. Then.
We could have bought a house there.
A shack.
Yeah. A house is a house.
Yeah.
That's true.
Just need a couple bunk beds.
Yeah.
And talking about the bidding thing, I think that's probably one of the next steps for us over the next 10 to 20 years. Hopefully, maybe quicker. Who knows? But with the public stuff, you see the things that these bigger companies that we sort of compete with on certain levels, that they love this public work. They go after the public infrastructure. The money's there, but it's such a different beast when you get to that level. A 4-block road reconstruction in Cameron is nothing, but when you're, like we were talking about, redoing all of I-70, there are so many open variables that these big companies can get in there with MoDOT or KDOT or whoever it is, and they can make good money off of it and give a good product hopefully to the taxpayers at the end of it. But
So
we're in a middle ground.
Quick question. Who lays the roads? Like puts the asphalt and the concrete down on highways?
We have to sub them out. We don't perform that work.
We do the rock we do the
Are
dirt
those like
subgrade,
are
rock
those
subgrade.
like private companies that come and do that?
Well, I mean, like Herzog,
in
out of
general,
St. Joe.
yes.
Like, they're
Do they
big.
have any sort of like scope of work that they have to like meet a criteria or like?
Are you talking about road conditions?
Oh, hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's inspectors that come through and they check all their work. And
Do
sometimes
inspectors get paid off?
I think they do.
Because I would
knew
love
exactly where you're going with this.
I did too.
Like, well,
Yeah.
because when you get on I-35 south of Liberty,
Yeah.
whoever did that road should never lay road again in
Hey,
their
the
life.
state's up there cutting some stuff up right now.
Yeah, you hit that and you buy the nicest car on the road and it's still.
Oh, yeah.
you've been to Cameron?
I have
go
been.
go south of the 48.
It's rough.
Yeah,
I have to put
It's
a mouthpiece in.
yeah. Up there, it was like it looks like it was bad. Like
Didn't even phase.
no, I'm talking even on I-35 up there.
Oh, 35 is bad. That's what we was talking about.
So I will, besides the one in Cameron, because that actually ended up going to litigation. There was actually things that was the inspector might have been paid off. So don't know the whole story on that, but I will
Potholes
say
the size of this table on it.
it could have been.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, and have you seen the chunks of concrete come out? If you're on a bike, you really got to dodge that shit.
Yeah,
But
that's why I don't ride my bicycle
So-
up there.
one thing,
You're riding a
that,
bike
people,
on 35? That's dangerous.
I know it's worse than deer jumping out in front of you.
Yeah.
Thing about our soils around here that people don't understand. You know, we get a lot of criticism. For how parking lots, how our highways turned out, is simply because our soils are so expansive here with the climate. We go just like last week, we're 125 degree heat index. This week, we wake up this morning and it's 59 degrees.
It was great. I was running at 5 this
It
morning.
felt awesome. You got up that early?
Yeah, I was up.
Did you beat the fours?
I didn't this morning. I've been a little off on the fours.
Nashville.
Yeah, I was drinking all week.
Yeah. Airbnb.
Yeah. Recovering.
So that's the one thing here is right. It looks like it. Our soils are so expansive that when you have such temperature change or moisture conditions change, everything's constantly moving. So is our roads, and unless you're in our industry, you really won't ever understand that.
And our soils are completely different.
Well, our soils are junk around here compared.
Well, it kind of confuses me how they hit like a certain area that's just flawless. And then you just hit like
It's the soils.
Wow.
It's the underground
Or
soils,
moisture.
a lot of it.
Or moisture.
Who you
Moisture,
know in
right.
Jeff City.
Huh?
Or I said, or who you know in Jeff City.
So what about
yeah.
did you ever go on North Oak?
As
There-
far as
Like if you exit
I
I-35,
mean, what part of North Oak?
well, the part that like anybody that owns a vehicle that's ever drove on North Oak would know the part of North Oak that was messed up.
Well, I'm not in North Oak that much. Okay, so
But it's like if you exited at 152, you went left, if you're going,
West.
yeah, go past the go-kart wash, it's on your right, you go down, you're going to hit
Oh,
that
yeah.
road. Like you're going to Berry Road. You're going to hit that road and it's just,
Yeah.
So this explains why all city people now drive jacked up 4-wheel drive trucks.
I had to.
With
I
the
couldn't
air
get it anywhere.
suspensions.
Yep. That's why I had to buy the nice shocks, bro.
Dude, I get
So-
it now.
No,
It
but
finally comes.
they
makes
came in, they
sense.
fixed it. That's like the smoothest road of all of Kansas City now.
for 3 years.
Yeah.
Then it's gone.
You can take a Prius down.
I promise you in 3 years, I will bet you right now in 10 years that road is nowhere as shitty as it was before.
There's been a lot of changes, even roads that we've seen that we've torn up 30, 40 years ago, that they do a lot of things different now than they used to. We're tearing up a road in Cameron right now that doesn't have base rock under it. And that's just,
That's simply because these engineers think they're smarter than the previous engineer. Hey, let's try this. I promise you, in 30 years, that engineer is going to be cussing the engineer today, wondering how stupid is that guy?
And we're going to say, hey, none of us were the engineer. It was just used.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Just point all of your anger over there.
We always do.
well, and to get technical, like I was not asked to, is look at I-70. We were talking about I-70 before we started, right? Getting ready to put 3 lanes all the way in through there. I think I-70 was built in around the 60s. And when
63 is the one that opened, I believe.
when they first started that, it was a 25 to 30 year lifespan. And here we are going on 60 years with the same subgrade. That's a big problem with it. It's no different than the Roachport Bridge that they're tearing down right now over by Columbia on I-70. I don't remember what they said, but
But can you still get to Columbia?
true, you can.
But also, how much construction have they had on I-70 over that?
Oh, there's been a lot of maintenance,
Oh, yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah,
and
but they
pretty much
don't-
probably nonstop since it opened.
but they
Yeah.
don't.
You're
restart
probably
it.
right. So the whole road is probably new at this point.
Pretty much.
They've probably put enough in maintenance that they could have redone the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had one of them super trains over from China brought it.
Yeah.
That is my biggest frustration. We take our tax dollars and we just put a 2-inch. So we just basically do a Band-Aid. And it's to try to appease the people. And it's just, they don't understand. They're not doing anything to the subgrade and fixing the problem. Hey, let's just mill this out 2 inches. Looks like we done something. Taxpayers are happy. In 2 years, they'll start bitching again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, we need to do that again.
And
So our money is
Also, I think
spent
taxpayer,
sarcastically.
if we had a little bit of say in who we paid to do the shit, because like I've been out to your guys' job sites. You know what you never see? A bunch of dudes standing around doing nothing.
That's good.
Go drive down I-35. I'm just anybody that's listening to this, jump on I-35 in the morning, go southbound, get on, and you're going to come up to the construction there.
Do you think it's probably because I tell them that Moss Marketing Group's coming? So they all jump out with hard hats and vests and they're like doing their thing. Because if I show up, like 6:45, I'm like 6:59.
Look
I better
good
go-
for the camera.
No, but go ahead. Sorry.
I show up those boys are hustling out there.
Yeah, they are. They do a great job. They really do. All of them do. Very proud of them.
It was funny. Like one of the guys was editing videos today. He's like, I have all this like, I try to always catch like sunrise stuff for you guys. He's like, what time were you filming out here? I was like, I got there at 6:30. He's like, when did they start? I was like, he said they were out there up and running at 6. He's like, and this is later. This is when he was telling me he wanted to work for CP. He's like, I don't think I want to work for CP now. He's like, they start pretty early.
Who is that? Because that's the guy that called you. Was he an old guy?
No, this guy works at MMG. When
Okay.
he was editing video all day, he's like,
sorry. He got a funny voicemail the other day, and he sent it to me, and I'm like, I never talked to this guy. I have no idea who he is, but supposedly he talked to me, and yeah, he's wanting the job. Like,
Yeah.
So I wish that we actually had some say in who got to do the work instead of them just picking people. And then also just like, what if we allocated a little bit more money away from like the 4,000 MoDOT guys that are down there sweeping the roads, or I don't know what they're doing on 35 there. But construction's been going on there for how long? Forever.
yeah, it's yearly.
So, but I don't know actually like what gets done.
Yeah.
So it's something, change subject here just a little bit. Last week when the heat index was really high, it was Tuesday. GC called me from that Reed project up in St. Joe. It's Centric. They called the super called me and he's like, hey, if I got a light tires, would the guys want to work, start early in the morning? I'm like, they're starting at 5 already. We've got lights on the equipment and whatnot. I said, I don't think it's really going to benefit us that much with having light tires. I said, but what if we work all night? Will you get us light tires, for all night? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, let me run it by the pipe crews. I'll leave it up to them because it's a big transition to go from nights to days, or days to nights.
We're light tires.
Just light tires that extend up. They've got like 4.
Light towers.
Yeah.
Something similar to what we're looking at here that's in our face.
I thought he said light tires. I'm like, never heard of it.
Light truck tires?
Yeah. I was like, you run different tires at night?
Yeah.
I was like,
they're lighter.
Seems
Need to borrow my hearing aid?
yeah, for
Just
real.
saying.
I thought I was speaking into this, but so I
I
just
think you were
talked
just
to
mumbling, but that's whatever.
Sorry. I was talking to a couple of the foremen and I'm like, it's totally up to you guys. Run it past the crew and see what you think. They talked about it, called me up, and they're like, yeah, let's do nights. Because I'm like, you can work 12 hours at night, or we're only going to work 6 hours during the day because it's too hot. We can't afford you guys being sick, down, nobody getting hurt, this and that. And it's a funny deal. They started Wednesday night, worked 12 Thursday. So then I'd go throughout the day and check everything. And Thursday night, I had a thought, Thursday morning of how they performed. Thursday night, I'm like, they're freaking killing it. So I see them Friday morning because 2 of them actually had to go do something during the day. So they worked from 8 p.m. one night and then was starting again that night, Friday night at 8 p.m. And so they had worked like 12, probably at least 16 hours that day. And when I seen them down there at Town Center, I said, I don't know how to say this, and I don't want it to come off rude. I said, but you guys are performing much better at night than you are during the day. And the foreman just looked at me and he said, I just told everybody the same thing. We do so much better during the night. I'm like, why is that? He goes, I think it's because there's not other subs in our way. They're not competing with space. And
No daily distraction.
yeah. And he said the sun and everything, we're just working better because it's
nobody
a little cooler.
texting them.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that one. But no, for real, they
And
killed
the
it.
stories on Facebook. It's just the same story.
God damn it, we got through all the stories. No,
Yeah.
nothing else happened.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the pipe crews that worked, during that heat, switched to nights. They killed it. I mean, it was Cameron and Malachi's crews. It was really good. They performed very well.
They listen to the podcast?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Shout out.
Yeah. We're gonna need to get them on here too sometime soon.
Oh, they've been itching.
Oh,
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Oh,
That will be.
You're gonna-
We might have to bring Dre back out. It might just be a full censored podcast.
You're going to need more mics.
Like
you're
how many
gonna-
more now?
At least 2 more.
I mean, maybe 3. I mean, got to have Dre involved.
True. Oh, look at him. He's over there just grinning ear to ear right now.
Yeah.
I mean, his face is red.
Stop it.
Well,
Yeah.
and to bring, again, kind of full circle with what we were talking about as far as the margins narrowing and everything like that, talking about efficiency. But I think one of the biggest things that we've done is honestly pride in the company. There's a lot of guys that we have working for us now that truly care. And it goes back to the GPS thing with setting it up, guys not caring. We have a lot of guys that do really care. And you see it in how they work. They want to do it right. They want to do everything correctly. And there's a lot of companies that struggle with that. That it's just a 9 to 5. They don't care. If they're wrong, it's not coming out of their paycheck. They don't care. But we have guys that truly see a future and that want to grow the company.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about that on our last 2 podcasts and the importance of culture building and what you guys are doing over. It's pretty cool when I go out places and I run into people and they're like, you guys do CP's marketing. Like it holds a heavy name behind it in the space that you guys are in. And when you build that culture, it makes it to where people want to be a part of it.
Right.
And I always look at there's people that are desk holders and then you have multipliers in companies. And both of them are employee, but one actually multiplies what your company does and one just holds a spot and just gets the job done. I feel like you guys truly have like multipliers in the company. That those are people that care. They care about what the company is, what the company represents, everything like that. Towards that's when you put multipliers in companies scale. Mm-hmm. I see it all day, every day, where I can go into a business and I can go around and just talk to people. I can go around a company of decent size in 10 minutes. I can tell you if they have multipliers or if they have desk holders. And that there is going to say a lot about how that company scales and what the future looks like. And Corey can only do so much.
Yeah.
But then if you put Ryan next to him, then you put Houston next to him, then you put Malachi next to him, then you put Cameron next to him, like you start stacking all these people, your multipliers, it gets crazy how quick it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you have A players sitting at a table. And it's like, or you can go fucking pay somebody less and get a B player, and you're going to end up paying for mistakes. You're going to start having people miss days all the time. You can't rely on people. You can't trust people. The B player, like, that's somebody I don't ever care to have.
Right.
And there's business owners that are B players. And it's like, those are business owners we don't even partner with. Mm-hmm. I sit at a table, and if it's a business owner that's not even a fucking multiplier or an A player, go find someone else. Because that business model never works. Mm-hmm. And it's like the person dictates it in any industry. You can have a food truck. There's people that have crazy successful food trucks and they have 50 of them all over the country and blah, blah, blah. Then there's somebody that has a food truck right next to them that has one of them that can't make their payments. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Both are in the same industry, both doing the same thing. Like, there's some dude out there that's owned a single skid loader for 25 years trying to make it in moving dirt. That it's same thing. How do you put multipliers around you to multiply everything and take it up? And the culture is what elevates that and does it. Mm-hmm. And I will say you guys have a stellar crew that I'll even Austin out at the quarries. Dude's solid. Mm-hmm. Like,
oh yeah. Yep.
It's like running into those guys, like they're everywhere in the company. It's not just one spot.
Oh, and that's true. I mean, we're blessed at the end of the day to have the people that we have, and you know, we've all, you know, you get the guys, you know, us three here, and you know, Cameron, Malachi, Austin, you know, Big Mike. We have so many that, you know, Trevor. I mean, guys that have been. Trevor's been here with me 6 years now.
Going on, he was here before I was.
Yeah, I mean, and you've met Trevor. I mean, we're only a 9-year-old company.
I think a lot of the guys I like name wise was when I showed up at the Christmas party.
Yeah,
it was like Cameron and Malachi were like right over, and then Austin like messaged me on Instagram and stuff. So it's like I talk to those guys like regularly,
right?
Mm-hmm. Like, and it was just kind of cool that you have people that are that invested in like what you guys are doing that like they think it's the coolest thing ever what you guys are doing. Like when I show up, there's certain companies that I'll show up to and they're like, oh shit, like we're doing film today, we're doing photo, like they're not looking at it as like that's a huge plus for the company. Like I pull up to the quarry last week and Austin comes zipping up. He's like, what's up, dude? He's like, pops out. He's like, it's just, I'm like, these guys are pretty pumped. See, I show up.
They all are.
Yeah,
they really are. I mean, from just a labor to a foreman, they all enjoy it. Yeah. They really do.
Well, and from the culture side of thing, I think they love just being able to go home and they can get on Facebook and they can see it.
Well, and say, hey, we do this.
Yep. They're sharing it. They're talking with, they're showing friends and stuff. I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely culture related, but I agree. You know, it's nice to be able to go hang a hat on a project.
Mhm.
You know, they're going to be able to go back to their kids one day and say, hey, I was involved in building this, multi-million-dollar, facility or whatever it is. It also gives you that pride.
Yeah.
It truly does. And it's no different in your guys' work and everything that you do and what you're doing for us. You see that, it makes your heart happy. And
I annoy my wife with it. We did that one. And over there.
Right.
And right there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point. Oh, yeah, I forgot we did that one. There's been so many projects over the years. It's just, it's been.
What's the
been
average
awesome.
length of a project, like time wise?
I'd say
COVID killed that average.
What was before and like now?
Probably 12 to 18 months now.
that's what I was going to say.
And
COVID extended
Depends
it to-
on how big the job is as far as just dollar amount, and whatnot.
So what was like before, like
12 to 18 months was kind of our average. We had a lot of quick hitters that can be a month, 2 month, even 8 to 10 month. But we got into with the housing, multifamily has become really just booming in the Kansas City area. Those projects stem 2 to 3 years.
Totally dependent on what you're building.
Yeah, yeah.
Multifamily,
Yeah.
2
Size.
years. Yep.
Yeah.
The warehouse we're doing right now, like 7 months. And it's a 250,000 square foot warehouse, and you see those, and there's not
pretty
much
small?
to them.
Pretty small.
Yeah, there's nothing to it.
It really
No,
is.
but they're really, it's a concrete slab with a couple of utilities under it, concrete walls, and a ceiling. And then whatever grading happens on the outside. It's a very simple project compared to multifamily.
Yeah.
So, and those a lot come from the MEP, the stuff on the inside, the drywallers, the painters, all the stuff on the inside, which takes that out for a long time. Because we have projects that are 2 years long, but we're only on site for 6 months.
So that's what I was going to say too. Like you have projects that we went out and filmed with all the pipe guys at a multifamily unit, but it was like you guys didn't have tons of equipment sitting out there. You had like 2 like smaller like backhoes or something like.
Excavators. We had
excavators.
yeah.
No,
there
what
was
no.
there
What was
was-
it? No, you
they're
had
all
like the
dozers.
mini.
No, well, that was the first one you come out to. It
was
was
the
on
late.
State Line.
Oh, no, that was
It
Leeward
was on
Village.
State Line. We were breaking rock.
No, they were putting in a big, huge
Yeah.
fucking drain. And they climbed down in this
So
concrete box
yeah.
the size of this
There
room.
would have been
Yeah.
a couple excavators.
He
not
There was two
backhoes.
No, it wasn't.
excavators.
It wasn't an excavator.
He also was
Yeah.
down at
Did they make like
You
little
want me to
itty
show
bitty
you-
ones that fit in my garage?
They called
Those
those
are
minis.
Mm.
Okay, it was a fucking mini excavator. That thing
Okay,
was-
you've been to the quarry way too much.
yeah,
because them
I look at some
750s
big ass shit
the
out of the corner.
750s are big. That's the problem.
Now he's got a point. Yeah.
You've been into the
I'm
quarry.
like, they were moving like little storm drains that I feel like 5 guys probably could have moved.
yeah, no. So like a 36-ton machine. That's pretty typical for pipe crews in doing site work, and that's what you would have seen there. And
Yeah, and they were doing like putting like a new.
storm system.
No, they had it. It needed a new seal on it, so resealing it and everything.
Gasket.
Gasket.
You better
seal.
stay in marketing.
I'm not planning on changing lanes. Anybody that's
So-
watching this know that I'm not an excavating. I don't do that. I never said I was.
We'd already been in there and done all the import on that. That job was like a 55,000 yard import, and
Yeah.
we'd already been in there with the excavator, dozers, and rollers, compactors before you came there. And then we have to get the site up to subgrade and then install your underground.
Okay.
So you showed up when we were about half done with underground when you showed up.
And the crazy thing was, like on that job site, the whole entire job site was standing still because the concrete guys.
That sounds about right.
And they're like, "Yeah, they're supposed to be
Just
here."
kidding. That was a jab.
They're like,
I like concrete guys. They're cool. They're tough.
"We're going to cut the second part where he defended it. We're just leave the
Yeah, they're all
first
gonna
part."
be after me.
The problem is the last 2 times you said you were going to edit and cut our podcast.
We didn't.
You never did.
No, that's
Because they were like probably 120 minutes long.
right. I take
10,000 hours of watch time.
take shots at Ricky.
Hey, Ricky, what's our time limit?
Your time limit?
Or not limit, but what are we at right now?
Hours.
Oh, see?
Hour 5.
When
Oh,
C-
hour 5, we're doing
when CP,
fine.
when CP comes on, it's like, I'm not even watching the clock.
Yeah, that we kind of lose track of time on you guys.
Yeah. I'll take one.
It's because we're entertaining.
That is true.
were entertaining.
The internet has said that too. Thank you. Now you guys made me look stupid about knowing my equipment.
It's okay. Again, going back to the East Prospect.
So a backhoe has the bucket on the front, has a fucking deal on the back.
Backhoes are for farmers.
Backhoe has, yeah.
The first project that we were working on, which was East Prospect, the big one. I remember we had our Volvo 250 out there. It's a 25-ton excavator. This thing's freaking huge. Now the 250 to me is a baby. It's a tiny little
Those
thing.
250s are awesome.
They're a good machine.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't even 250. It was a 220. It was when we had the new
They're good
220.
too.
I don't know.
It was.
No, but it was like just a whole different pace of what I'd been going out to filming. This was like still in the earlier days of like when we're filming. And it's like I'm showing up and it's just like job sites just everywhere. People are doing shit, just moving and grooving. And I show up to this like multifamily deal and I'm like, ain't nobody doing nothing around here. And like, you want to film us putting on a gasket? I was like, yeah, cool. Like I'm sitting over there, I'm like, this isn't quite near as entertaining as
It's funny
what
you
I was
say
doing
that.
this morning.
It's funny you
Putting on
say
a
that.
gasket. I'm like, in the morning I'm filming, I'm like, this is a bunch of huge Tonka toys. This looks great.
Yeah.
Then by the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know how to make this look as cool as you want it to.
They'll say the same thing.
Oh shit!
A little bit different. They'll
Don't
say
tell
the
me
same
about your
thing.
morning routine.
It's always fun out there moving big dirt, but then you come to those little tiny things we got to do at the end.
I know.
It's not as exciting.
So those jobs you can hold like for 2 years and just have those like small things that just need to be handled like here and there.
So you want to, what I've been telling Houston here, I think I've groomed, Corey taught him how to estimate, correct?
Correct.
Would you say that I've groomed you on some of the things that
You better answer that freaking question lightly.
I wouldn't
No,
say
like-
you groomed me. It was more of
not groomed. He's
Okay.
groomed.
Do we have bodyguard here?
Okay, he's groomed. But I'll say this. Corey wouldn't turn anything down. So let's just say you could make 500 extra bucks to do this. Corey wasn't going to turn it down. We were going to do it. Me, on the other hand, I got bigger fish to fry. You know, we can make more doing something else. So working with Houston on a lot of the smaller things, I'm like, this is the way I explained it to him. We're a rough in framer. When you're building a house, we're a rough in, you know, we're going to get all the important stuff done. And then you're going to have somebody come in and make it all pretty at the end. And that's a finisher.
And honestly, it's a big fight for us. It really is. These 2-year jobs drag on. We're the first ones in, and outside of maybe the landscapers, we're the last ones out. So they're sitting there holding 5 to 10% of our money that whole time. They want to come back and hit us for every little thing that they may not like, that the landscapers, even the drywallers have driven over, you know, and they want to come back and it's now our problem. That's the biggest problem with those long drawn out projects. On something like this warehouse, it's 6 months, 7 months. It's big stuff. We're in, we're out. Everybody's happy. And their truncated timeline, which helps.
I'm pretty much only speaking of multi-family stuff, you know, not necessarily big projects like the warehouses, things like that. I'm talking more of the tedious type stuff when you have, say, 10 multi-family buildings that you have to go in and dress them all up with black dirt, make them all look pretty. You don't 2-inch smaller stone or less in the dirt. They want that removed. You know, that's landscaping. That's finishing stuff. Our toys are way too big to be doing that sort of stuff. Pass that on to the professionals, the landscapers, the finishers. You know, exclude that from our project, you know, or from our portion. That's what I like to do with Houston. Like, exclude that, exclude that, exclude that, exclude that. Oh, we'll do it, but, you know, we're going to do it for this, you know.
Which I think that's also, like, from Corey's perspective, when you start something, like, it looks so different in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in the beginning, I took everything on. I was like, anything I can do, I'm doing it. Like, if someone's paying me, let's ride. Like, but I was trading that to do it with my time, because Corey, probably in the early days, if it was like, okay, you take all these like little rocks out and it's $500, $1,000. I don't know what it is. Like
Yeah.
on those cleanup deals, you're thinking in your head, I'm like, in the beginning, I was just taking stuff on like crazy. Like at one point we did individual vehicle photography for dealers. And I was like, no, I don't really want to get into that. It seems like it's going to be like, but
Dre did that though, right?
yeah, pretty much. So,
And that's what that's exactly what he's talking
but
about.
the crazy thing was like when we did that, it was something we didn't want to do, but the money made sense on just like a direct trade of time. And I was like, okay, Dre can do this and I can hire somebody else to help Dre with it. And then it just like kind of snowballed out into something that made a lot of money, but I knew the longevity wasn't there. It wasn't what we wanted to do, but it gave us the cash flow in the meantime.
Yeah. And I understand that.
You hit a breaking point, but it's hard to shift that mindset at a certain point where you're like, those small, when it's just you or even at the 6 people, still can kind of make sense. But then when you hit to a certain scale and you have everything that's taking place, that's actually losing you money.
Yeah.
Like those small things,
Yeah,
like you start
exactly,
losing
because
you money.
You've
still
got
made
big
money,
pieces of
but-
equipment sitting that's not doing anything because you're doing the little stuff.
Exactly. So it's like, it's such a different, and like you have to change your thought process. And I'm reading a book right now. It's called Scale Up, and it's a lot in that thought process of what it looks like in the beginning and what it like transitions into. All of a sudden, those like smaller dollars there are
It's not worth it.
You're pissing money away.
Well, and we still, even on those little $500 ones, like he said, we still made money. It's just we can go make more money and utilize our time and equipment better somewhere else.
Which in the grand theory of it, you're losing money.
Yeah.
If
It's
you
still
can
an
make,
opportunity cost.
if you can make $2,000 here, you can make $500 here, and you pick the $500 over the $2,000, you lost money.
Yep.
And there's going to be a day where that $2,000 smaller job, or I don't even know like what that actually thing is, but there's going to be something that's now worth $5,000, and that's always going to like transition up. But that's a hard part of like being a business owner, is understanding that when it happens and changing that mindset as it progresses up.
Well, and to talk on behalf of Mr. Phillips down there, although which one am I talking about? No, Corey I think he's done a very good job over the last couple of years of delegating. Because before, when we had 6 guys, he was the end rung on everything. And he still is, but now he's got Ryan, me, he's got Shane, he's got Dennis. He's got people that are doing jobs for him that then report back to him. He's not reporting to all 60 guys. He's reporting to a few of them, or a few are reporting to him, I should say. And again, that talks like, I'm sure in your book, the scalability of things, and you can only run a 3 to 5 man group under you effectively. And he's done a very good job of that, of putting people in positions that can take a portion of the business and help out. I mean, he's
and
still
that,
in everything, but
it very much like you talk about like complexity of business and how complexity changes so much that if I ran a business with just Corey, we're not going to really have communication problems. Like communication problems really aren't going to happen. I run a business with myself and Ryan and like the 3 of us. Now, if I tell Ryan something, he can, or I tell Corey something, he can say something to Ryan. You're going to start running into communication complexity. Now, all of a sudden, you have 60 people. Like where most businesses are broke is at the management level, which is where the effective communication from management down works the way it's supposed to. Because at the very top, that person already understands the communication to management. But if management can't get the communication down correctly, to where that's business, like management level is so important. And you watch it in successful car dealers, like probably one of the simplest business models to watch on actually learning business. Go to a dealership that you walk in that has 3 amazing managers. They sell a shit ton of cars, and it runs like a well-oiled machine. Go into a dealership with 3 shitty managers. They don't sell shit for cars. There's excuses everywhere, and it's just a complete, absolute shit show. And it's like, it's all broken at that same level.
What blows my mind, though, is how we still struggle with communication. It just, in our society, when literally everybody is doing nothing but talking on their damn cell phones, texting, email, something, but we still struggle with communication.
I think it's effectively communicating.
Well,
We can sit
100%.
here and talk for an hour and
you
not
say
communicate at all.
Trying to be figurative about it.
Yeah.
It just, everybody wants to be on their phone. Everybody wants to be doing something.
But it's also like if I have one person in the line that may just have a terrible memory problem or may not, like you may be the manager.
It's getting them to understand it is the biggest thing for a manager, is to break it down, because each person's you're going to have to explain it to them differently. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to take it the same way. So as a manager, you have to be able to break it down. If you've got 10 foremen that are doing the project, you got to be able to break it down differently for each one. And I guarantee you, Houston has to do it with me all the time, because he sees it differently than me and him, right?
There's been a few butted heads here and there.
But it's also like communication. There's so much that goes into play with it that say, I'm an owner and you three are all managers, but you all three think completely differently. I can say the same thing to all three of you guys, and all three of you guys take it differently. And Corey may say, hey, all right, I know exactly what I need to do. He goes and gets it. Ryan says, hey, he's an asshole. I'm not listening to that. I'm going to do it my way. And then it's like, you could say, hey, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing after that. But it's like, it's funny.
I say it a lot.
But it's like that exact same thing can happen on like how you effectively communicate with people, that it's how it actually comes across.
Well, and that's important to an owner or, the CEO of, you have to understand, and that's my position. I have to understand each character, each individual. How do they retain? What is their strong suits? What is their weaknesses? I can say something to Ryan, and he's going to get it. With Houston's train of thought, what I explained to Ryan, and a lot of it is because we have the logic in the field, and I go to Houston. Houston doesn't understand, and I'm not jabbing him. I'm just saying he doesn't. This is just an example. He doesn't understand what it takes for that dozer or what it takes for that.
Because
that piece
Houston
of
and I are
to
using
do.
backhoes. We ain't using it.
Right, exactly.
I get a shovel if I'm lucky.
Yeah. You shouldn't even mobilize a backhoe on a job site, and here you're using a backhoe. But that's you as even a manager, as an owner, whatever your position is. If you're a supervisor, running people, you have to acknowledge each individual, and you have to understand their strong suits. You have to understand their characteristic, how they retain, how they respond. And if you're able to do that, I promise you, you will succeed. You will succeed. And it's tough.
It is.
Trying to pick out that many type of personalities.
Oh, 100%.
There are some personalities that are somewhat similar to where you can utilize the same, strategy and approach. But if you got somebody that is just totally different, this individual may not respond to you yelling or you raising your voice. It's, hey, you have to be more of a monotone. You have to give them a good structure. You have to lay it out line item by line item. They're going to respond to you. If you raise your voice, they're going to more likely shut down. I got veterans that have worked for us and currently do. You damn near have to just raise your voice because that's how they've trained. They've went through, whether it's the Navy, the Army, the Marines. That's how they were trained.
Or they've just
mentally,
been in this
physically,
for 40 years.
Air Force, yeah. They were yelled at during their whole training. And that is their structure. So in order to get them to respond, you got to raise their voice. So it all goes back to understanding their character and that individual. If you can pinpoint that out as a manager, you're going to be able to build a successful crew, a successful company.
Well, and even in our industry, what makes it worse, because communication is, in my opinion, the number one issue, regardless. Doesn't matter what
that's
we're
in our
talking about.
world and everything.
In everything. But the thing that we run into is not only are we trying to deal with the personalities and the sensibility and the logic of the people that we employ and work with, we're having to do that with the people we are working for and running into the different characters that we have. We've got superintendents that are just ready to go, rough and tumble. We've got superintendents that just want to lay back. There's no forethought. We've got PMs who are apparently allergic to phone calls or only send emails. We have to run that gauntlet not only with our own guys, but with the companies we're working for. And that can lead to problems too. It's it's a juggling act. It really is.
Well,
trying to keep them all.
What we always say, these things have poisoned everybody. You know, they have taken it to where you can't have one-on-one conversation. You can't be personable.
But I look at it as, in today's world, I don't think, like you talk about the younger generation, like our generation is the most fucked up when it comes to communication and understanding people.
100%.
They're too used to Zoom calls where you can't read people's body language, things like that. That if I start yelling at Ryan and I start seeing that his body language changes, I start understanding what's happening really quickly. You start seeing somebody, they set their shoulders, they start paying attention differently. You can see really quickly, like your tone of voice, everything is shutting them down. Like, once again, there's a difference of communication and effectively communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's a lost art. And it's also like, you look at the older generation, that the way my dad used to run companies, like he ran with an iron fist, and like he left when he was in the mortgage space, he had guys that were making 50 to 100 grand a month, and he would just rip into them. And I watched it when I was growing up, and these dudes like didn't even phase them. But these are A-player guys that are like, they're tough-skinned humans. And I watch them in the car business just rip into like a Porter one day, and the dude just walks out and leaves. And he's like, what in the hell? And I'm like, the dude makes like $2,500 a month, $3,000. I think he's going to work at Burger King.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, people at that price point, you can't yell at like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Like, and it's just hard, like when you look at it and how people like react to things and how people work and operate. And when you master those things, and it goes for working with clients, and it goes for working like in anything. And I got to a point where I didn't understand in the beginning. I've always understood how to do it, but in the beginning I thought I had to please everyone. That like I would sit with people that I knew I had to be like kind of someone different to acquire that work.
Right.
And now it's at this spot, and I'm like, if that person doesn't fucking like me, I don't really care. I'm not going to work with them then.
What's interesting though about that is it kind of goes back to what you were talking about with not turning down any work.
Yeah.
And we've had this internal discussion with all three of us. And it kind of goes back to Ryan's point with extra work and turning this stuff down and whatnot, is at the beginning, you wanted everything because you didn't know where the next meal was coming from, right? We now have a brand, so to speak. We have relationships we've started to build that we're not going to sugarcoat everything. We're going to tell it how it is, and we're going to try at least to be upfront and honest with them, because I think that's another big thing with this industry is over-promising and under-delivering, especially in terms of schedule, but is not turning that stuff down early on because you were worried. Now we're at a point we don't need to. And kind of comes back to communication on it too. We're not, I don't want to say we're assholes about it, but we'll tell these general contractors that, hey, what you're wanting isn't reasonable. What you're asking for can't be done. We're going to get to it. It's going to get done. But that's a big thing in this industry now, is there's no logic sometimes when it comes to time frames.
Well, with that being said, I truly think we're frowned upon for being honest.
Yeah, a huge part.
I mean, they would rather us say, hey, we'll be on site next week. We're going to have 3 crews. You know, we'll be able to move 100,000 yards. We'll be able to, put 1,000 foot of pipe in the ground. Yeah. Might be able to even, chug on your chain a little bit. That's what they want to hear. But when we go in there and say, nope, we're X amount of days out, we can't provide this, we can't do this until this date, then all the hell's gates just open.
And I think it's communication, because I don't think they want to go back to the owners. They overpromise.
That could be a lot of it. But I mean, we're frowned upon for being honest about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing. It's just, what do you want us to be, honest to our customers? Do you want us to be honest to you? Because how often do we witness our own competitors or just other subs? Yeah, we're going to be there this day. And, here it is. We're sitting here. We've scheduled around that. Mm-hmm. And I thought you said this sub is going to be here on this day. Yeah, we don't know why they're not here. Okay. Can you make a phone call? Make a phone call. Oh, yeah, we can't be there for another 2-3 weeks. So
we still get shafted.
What did it just cost us? Because we are sitting on a site waiting on somebody else.
Yeah, that happens way too often.
Yeah. And that goes into anybody that knows me, like there's nothing more that I hate than just like yes men. And yes men live everywhere. Like they live in companies, they live in people bidding. There's business owners that are yes men that just say yes to everything. Mm-hmm. And in an aspect that I'm the first one that'll preface things when I'm having a conversation in the office with everyone that works there. I'm not telling you my train of thought's going to be correct all the time. I'm going to tell you I have an idea. But I hired all you guys and everyone is around me and we are a team to move forward. If I don't have an idea that you agree with, let's have a conversation about it. And it's like, I want to know when you don't agree with me. I don't need you to just say yes to agree with me all the time. And same thing when I say with companies, a company shouldn't hire a yes man. You should hire a professional at what they do. Mm-hmm. And I've sat with business owners that they're like, well, I want to do it this way, this way, this way. I'm like, that's not going to work, and my company's not going to do it that way. Mm-hmm. And they're like, but we're paying you for a service, blah, blah, blah. I go, then go pay another marketing company that's not good at what they do, and they'll do it that way. If you're going to work with us, this is how we're going to do it.
Happens to us all the time.
Yeah, and that's basically what we tell them is this is the way we're going to do it. Now there's variables that obviously change from weather and, other projects and whatnot, but you have to be flexible, but you still have to be honest about it. And I think that's the hardest thing to do, is like when you're just telling them the truth, they're not accepting it,
Mm-hmm. That's not what they were expecting. They were expecting somebody to say, yeah, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when they don't get that, that conversation hadn't played out in their head where they got to know. And it wasn't because a lot of times I think in your guys' industry, Houston was probably right. They've probably told some power above them.
You're absolutely right.
I'll have guys out there in 2 weeks. They come to you like, you need to be out there in 2 weeks. And you're like, no. And they're like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then
I already promised that.
Add to it. So, you talk schedule, and then like the month of July, it rained, and it rained, and it rained.
10 inches.
So we're on these sites. We literally can't do a damn thing. And then it comes August 1st. Well, you said you were going to be August 1st. It rained 29 out of the 30 days in July. Yeah,
you should call Channel 4 and ask them to help you.
I'm going to use that.
I mean, those are just challenges we face, and we're sound like we're bitching, but I mean, we're also just being, straight and reality
of. Podcasts are for? Yeah. Or did I misunderstand what a podcast is?
No, just wait. Just wait. I'm getting ready to talk politics.
There we go.
Or autonomous equipment.
Yeah.
So it's just no. I think I really do. I think we're looked down upon for being honest, and that's frustrating. They like white lies.
I think realistically, people do want honesty. I just don't think that they always enjoy the form that it comes in.
Accept it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's in the beginning, I was like, okay, I've lost accounts because I was honest with people. Am I doing it the wrong way? But it's like longevity of the name that it builds for yourself and the business that it builds. Longevity, it's the play. And I always tell every single person and business owner, like, I play a game of chess on what we do. Everything I do is playing the long play. When you're playing one move at a time, you will always lose. Mm-hmm. If you're playing 5 to 10 moves in front of yourself, you will always win. To where sometimes that honest conversation, that's not the move you want to make right now, mm-hmm. but that's the move for 5 plays from now.
It hurts in the moment, but in the long run, it's better. And it everywhere.
Those conversations suck. They do, but that's exactly right.
Because once in a blue moon, that might be something that you may lose a job for or whatever it is. That person, as much as they didn't like that conversation, that person left that conversation with more respect for you.
Typically.
If they're most of them aren't willing to say that, but it's amazing the respect I have from people on accounts I don't even have that still reach out to me, and because I was the only person that was honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it makes it difficult on the flip side of that same coin is those people who are upset at you for being honest that you then lose that work. Did you really want to continue working with them anyways? Because if they're being dishonest about that, what else are they being dishonest about?
Yeah.
right? I think that plays a lot into it. And we've seen it in a few companies where we're told one thing, they do something different, and it bites us in the ass. And it really does. It's terrible, but it's part of it. So at the end of the day, like, you lost a client, but if you built some respect in the industry with it and you move forward from it, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just sucks in the moment.
And sometimes you may, like, I've seen it already happen for us, is sometimes you may lose the client that time, but you may have a GC that's doing a single project and he's going to have another project afterwards. And he took on this company that lied to him all the way along the way. People don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like people start branding themselves with that stuff.
Yeah. 100%.
To where now all of a sudden he ends up he's ending up on his next project. And instead of making that promise to the power above right out the gate, he said, hey, I'm going to work with the guys that were honest with me last time. If I go with these guys this time, I'll probably end up having a smoother ride along the whole entire transaction.
Yeah.
There was another, CEO partner in a company that we're working for now. We were just talking, money, and how we get stuck carrying so much. Net pays are 120 to 180 days, and here it is. We're not getting any interest. We're not making anything off that money. I mean, we're the ones that's carrying that project, but it was just an interesting thought. This particular CEO, she, we were just talking and just wrapping business, and it was interesting to say, listen to her, because I was saying, hey, these are my demands with our contract, and she goes, I understand your demands. She goes, but Corey, she goes, I don't work for customers that carry and drag these things out. She goes, I think you need to reconsider your clientele. And it kind of hit me, because we've been working for a lot of the same people for the past few years. They're known and reputable for not paying. They're known for the headaches that we've just been rapping or discussing tonight. And it's just like, you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. And so I think that just makes us understand, and personally made me understand, I do need to change my clientele. I mean, if those are the people that are judging us for being honest, those are the people that are trying to take every single penny from us, or not willing to work with us, not willing to trust with us, why are we working with them? Why are we trying to build that relationship?
And I think it's something that happens over time. Like, it's not like one day you just come in, you're like, hey, you guys are all gone. And then it's not like, as a business, it doesn't work like that.
100%. Yeah,
unless you just got, so much fuck you money that it doesn't matter. But
and I know I have.
Neither do I. But like, as we've like transitioned as a company, and I've seen it happen, we've gotten so much more selective with clients that those people that had slow paying, like in the days early on, I had a lot of problem with people paying. And it's like, as I acquired an account, I started looking at it. Like, I told my brother one day, I was like, every time we acquire an account, a new account that is solid on the way that we do it, I'm going to let an account go. And at first I was like, what if that like brands my name? Like, these are people that we don't work with anymore. But then I'm like, I'm not working with them out of like our fault. I'm not going to work with them because it's a headache for me all the time. Mm-hmm. And I had like accounts that thought I was like a full-time servant to them. And I'm like, look at what we've done for your company. Look at all these things. And like, so it was kind of hard to have that kind of step back and that like realization of work with the right people. And there are great people out there in business.
Oh yeah.
I work with so many people now that like I am really good friends with. Like, there's accounts I've had for like a month that I'm like, these are just stand-up people. Like, we have people now that we are at our office and Dre sends out the invoice and it's handled before they even get back to their office or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, I remember when I was pulling teeth and we were a third of the price.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are ticking up, but it's when you start just making that transition, just start eliminating those huge headaches and a lot of it does come back to money.
Are you telling me I need to hand deliver a check to you every time?
Oh no, absolutely.
I didn't know if that was just kind of what you were. You know,
Is that a jab?
No,
I felt it was a jab.
you're not a problem client at all. No,
I mean, we've been on 3 podcasts. I didn't figure so.
No, I definitely had some problem clients that were just, and I get it. People are business
What'd you say,
owners.
Dre?
I don't have it.
I've definitely had like people that were like a problem with that, and I get people have businesses, and like I'm the first one. Like somebody sends me an invoice if I have things going on, whatever. Like I normally text it to Dre, and like half the time I'll forget about it for a couple days or something. But like the second I remember, I'm like, hey, get this handled. Like, and I put everything on auto withdrawal that I can. Like that is the savior to my life. But money is something that most people don't want to talk about in business.
Right.
And that is the driving force. That's like,
That's why we're here, right?
exactly. But it's so many people don't want to talk about it. It's like a taboo thing to talk about in today's world, that if you become super successful, you're an asshole. You make too much money. You don't do enough for others, blah, blah, blah. So the guy that employs 200 people doesn't do enough for others. Yeah, tell me how many people you help out every month.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like there's people that have like multi-billionaires out there. Like Andy Frisella owns First Form and Self-Made Superstores. And he's like, people bitch about his car collection. Dude built a city in Haiti. So if you're going to sit there and bitch, like, where's your city at that you help
Right.
in a different country? So it's
He
like
can
you
have
start
as many cars as he wants.
exactly. So you can do things for other people, but it's all in relevance of you can still have nice things and work hard for yourself. And people don't talk about money, and that can go from invoices, that can go from employees, that can go to raises, to whatever it is. But just have those conversations. Once again, they may not always be the easiest conversation to have at the time, but it's going to end up keeping things a lot more honest and a lot better in the long run.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
So pay your bills on time.
Moral of the story.
Moral of the story.
And deliver that check.
Under promise, over deliver.
Exactly.
Ryan, you'd be a good hostess at a restaurant.
Why?
You would be for under promising and over delivering.
That's
it's
me.
going to be 20 minutes till table. Sorry.
Dude, that is
5
Is
minutes.
that not
Guess
me,
what?
though?
Surprise, motherfuckers! Your
For
tail's
real.
ready.
What?
Is that not me?
Oh, 100%.
A realist.
100%.
I'm like straight, so honest. Sometimes I think it is at fault. We're not getting back into this conversation topic, but yeah,
So it's
like I'm
honest.
straight up like this is actually the way it's gonna be.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically, he says 5 days. I'm like, dude, we can do that in 3. We bid it for 2. Well, I'm just no. We can do it in 3.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, we ain't gonna be there for 2. So
See, you guys sound just like Dre and I. Dre's like, yeah, he's like on the phone. He's like talking to somebody. He's like, we'll have it back to you. And like Ricky's the same with him. Like, yeah, 5 to 7 days. I'm like,
yeah,
hey, what? I was like, we get that back in 48 hours.
yeah, but he's like, all right, we're gonna lay 1,000 feet a day of whatever it is. I'm just like, okay, that's not gonna happen, but we're gonna try like hell. So I go to the guys. I'm like, okay, this is the time that you actually have to do it. And I give them deadlines, this and that. And then it's up to them to really make it happen. And a lot of times, especially the utility guys, they'll look at me like, you gave us that much time. Like, you don't think we can do it any quicker than that? I'm like, little reverse psychology.
He's telling
here.
everyone his secrets.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna be
I do
listening.
that.
They're like, "Holy shit, we actually do have 5 days." He was
But
trying to get in our head to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
During
do a
this
little reverse psychology.
Ryan's like, "Can you cut that part?"
Listen to Corey here. You only have 2 days.
We've been successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows your secret, so we'll see where it goes from here.
That's the bad thing about podcasts. Too much.
Yeah.
Too much comes out.
Houston just starts spilling all the beans over there.
Oh, yeah. Everything.
Well, I felt that way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to buy my first rock truck tomorrow. I'm ready to go.
You have to rewatch the podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again, but you guys better. I'm coming.
Yeah.
What size of rock truck?
Big one, biggest one they've got.
Big one
Big one. That's all I know.
with light tires.
With light tires and a backhoe. That's what I'm showing up with.
Okay. All right.
So watch out.
I'm
gonna be
fair
scooping.
enough.
I'm gonna be scooping from the front and the back.
We're gonna have MMG Excavating. Here we go.
We're starting off with a medium-sized project.
Okay.
We don't need to start off small.
What's considered medium?
97,000.
Yeah, he said $250,000 was pretty small buildings. So 250,000 square feet buildings is where we're starting.
That's where we're starting.
All right.
I like it.
Just up from there.
Okay.
So,
Since it's on a podcast, I get a percentage.
that's fine.
I mean, we've had training during
That's fine.
this, so
I'm probably
That's true.
Once I buy the equipment, I'm probably gonna be calling you and not knowing what to do with it.
Hey, you want to buy some equipment?
So I think I got a deal.
fair enough.
Corey's
Fair
gonna be like, you got screwed.
Fair enough. Interesting.
All our dealers are going to be calling him tomorrow. Are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
Are you hired?
Yeah.
you need a haul truck? I got a haul truck.
Yeah. If you want to come on to the MMG Excavating group and you bring your own equipment, that's a plus. So
His wife's inside or future wife's inside the door. We'll go talk to her about this.
she'll support it. We can park it in my driveway and down the side of the house. Take up the neighbor's yard too.
That's funny.
But
And we're starting a podcast tomorrow too.
yep. So
Good. CP podcast.
I'll support that.
Yep. Okay.
That's probably going to be more successful.
Can we
than
borrow
You guys
this
want a
equipment?
side gig?
Yeah.
Side gig?
Probably more successful.
Did
than
you really
MMG.
sign that piece of paper?
Oh shit. Houston.
Houston, final thoughts.
It's a good group of guys. I'm glad to be working with them. I think my average was about a year lasting anywhere, and I've lasted 5 here. So
That's pretty good. You're going pretty good.
Yeah,
If you can
doing
hit
well.
7, I mean, that would. Then you could go on to your Nixon venture.
yep, it's not what I thought I'd ever be doing, but I do enjoy it. I actually do. I don't think I would have stuck out as long as I have if I didn't. It's neat. The way I
And it's
describe
close
it,
to home.
it is close to home. The way I describe it to people
Here we
is
go.
it's constantly the same but ever changing. We do the same things day in and day out, but they're different projects. They're different people we work for. You can build a foundation, but still keep it exciting.
We're going to put that quote on a CP shirt.
Which one? I heard several quotes on that.
What was the one
Yeah, it
about
was.
constantly changing?
He's going to have to replay because I already forgot it.
I know. what did he say? It sounded really good when you said it.
Yeah.
It's always the same, but ever changing.
Always the same, but ever changing.
There we go.
CP Excavating.
That's be a good shirt.
Philosophical.
You
down
give
here,
them.
man.
You can throw them out at the Christmas party. I'm gonna get a t-shirt cannon for this Christmas party.
There you go.
Corey's gonna need to get a bigger barn.
Yeah. Bigger barn, insurance liability.
Yeah.
But thank you guys very much for coming on. Always enjoy it. I feel like these could be like 4-hour-long podcasts.
Definitely.
I don't know. Probably the people probably want that, but I'm
Do
gonna probably have
do
to.
they have lives?
I don't know. They might be. They're probably sitting in an excavator or something right now. Probably not a backhoe, but like an excavator. Because
Hey.
the backhoe guys those are farmers.
Backhoe guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a different breed.
Yeah. If you want to shine, you got to stand where the light's shining, bud. CP Excavating. How you like that one?
The lighter tires.
Rising over there and thinking about that for like 5 minutes in the light. All right.
That was a good one.
What's your quote for CP Excavating in this scoring?
Well, I haven't had time to say anything.
Bro, they just hit with 2 just back-to-back fire ones. Like, you're supposed to.
Damn. What is it? You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic.
I think somebody else already said that. I feel like those are
no.
pretty original.
I've already said that. I said that on my first podcast. I truly believe it.
Okay.
Can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage work ethic.
And we'll put in the editing who like originally said that.
Yeah.
But
Hey, for real though, mine, it's on my phone. If you want to shine, you got to stand where the light's shining. I threw in the CP Excavating on there.
oh, was that
Because
somebody
we
else
were
that said that?
Yeah, I think I twisted it with the CP. No, I typed that in there. My wife, she's seen it one day. I said that on there, and she's like, "Why do you have that on there?" I'm like, "Because I believe it." She's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Did yours come from somewhere else?
No, top of my head.
Hey, I'm
I
going to
like
tell
the
you right now.
originality down there.
Yeah,
Here, if you want to come work for CP, I promise we'll never have mask mandates, and I promise we'll never force you to take the jab.
Hey, I can respect that.
That's a quote. That's a quote from CP himself.
That's it.
Damn, I was wanting to talk politics tonight. I've been riled up about that shit.
I know you are. That's that's definitely where I knew the podcast would fall off at. So, but once again, thank you guys for coming on. Always appreciate it.
Oh yeah, always,
And,
always enjoy it, and glad Houston could join us tonight.
Had fun.
You know, hopefully we can get some other members on sometime. Get a fifth mic going.
Yeah, something like
You know,
that.
I mean, you don't want Dre on?
Who's Andre?
Who's Andre? Andre's not coming on. All right, that's the M3 podcast. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.